You'd be surprised how many attorneys actually don't know how to calculate child support properly. So I've been working with a client for over a year now, and we have been going back and forth with the other attorney on how child support should be calculated. So the first piece is the number of parenting days. So if you are working on the case yourself, you need to look up the Arizona Revised Statutes and get a copy of the child support guidelines, okay? There's a specific chart that says when days are calculated. So they can be for 12 hours or more. If you have parenting time, you get the whole day. If you have parenting time between 6 and 11 hours, you get half a day. If you have parenting time between 3 to 5 hours, you get a quarter day. And depending on what is happening in less than 3 hours, the court could potentially still give you a quarter day. So it's easy if you have equal parenting time, right? But let's say that someone has every other weekend and Tuesdays after school. Well, after school really depends. Did they pick them up from school directly, or did they come home to the primary parent's house and stay there for a few hours and then they get picked up after work? So like at 5:30 to 8. Well, that isn't even 3 hours. So did they take them out to dinner during that time? Then it could count because that's referenced in the statute, right? But if they didn't, then it might not count as any parenting time pursuant to these guidelines, right? So you need to make sure that when you are calculating the number of days that you're putting on the worksheet, that you get that granular, because it can make a huge difference. The second part of calculating child support that I want to talk about are the brackets of parenting days. So the parent who is going to be paying child support is going to get a credit for the days that they have. But there's this bracket of time. For instance, 0 to 19 days, they don't get any adjustment for the number of parenting days. Pursuant to the chart between 70 and 84 days, they're going to get a 10% adjustment. And I'm skipping around. There's a lot. Too much for this video. And let's say that they have between 143 days and 152 days. They get 3 to 5.325 credit, right? So in that instance, whether they have 143 days, 144 days, 150, 51, 52, they're going to get that same credit. So that does make it a little bit easier. But right when you're there on that line, it does end up making a difference. And so sometimes it's a $50 difference. Sometimes it's a little bit more. Sometimes it's a little bit less. But you need to be aware of those brackets, okay? The other piece that I have seen attorneys do completely wrong is when you get credit for the medical insurance. So let's say that, like most families, it is the person who works there, the employee plus family, right? So if there was just one child, we would take the cost of the employee plus family, reduce it by what it would just cost for that employee to receive just their own insurance. And then that is the amount that the child is going to receive, right? And so that parent is going to get credit for that amount. Let's say it's $100, right? But if it's not just that child, if it's the spouse and 2 stepkids and the child, right? Now that $100 is divided by 4. So the parent is only going to get credit for $25 for the payment of health insurance. And it's calculated the same way for vision and dental also. So those 3 pieces, even though they're in the statutes and they're right there, clear as day, sometimes even other attorneys don't understand exactly how this is calculated. So if you are going through a custody case or a divorce case and you want to make sure that your child support is calculated correctly, definitely get legal advice. It has been a long road for my client, right? I said it takes a year. But at the end of the day, we were able to get an award of over $10,000 in child support because the other parent did not believe that that amount should have been ordered, right? They said it wasn't correct. They thought that they had 70% or more of the parenting time because they and possibly their attorney didn't understand how you count up parenting days. They were doing some sort of different calculation, which is not supported by the law, and firmly believed that they were receiving 70% of the parenting time, but that was just not the case. So you want to make sure before you get into a big fight about an issue where it's very clear cut under Arizona law that you get very good legal advice, because you need peace of mind, as there is no substitute.